Stepping through the face of the clock tower brings you to the secret of the hunter's nightmare, the fishing hamlet. Step toward the village and listen to the ramblings of one of the locals to get some lore on this cosmically influenced area. Return wearing the milkweed rune, and the same individual will give you the hunter tool, Accursed Brew. Although it requires 30 arcane, it only consumes 2 quicksilver bullets per use. The Accursed Brew is sort of like an arcane version of a Molotov, and it's one of my favorite arcane items in the game. Continue forward to light the first lamp of the hamlet. Straight ahead is a shortcut ladder we'll be accessing soon, so for now, take a right and encounter several of the spear fishermen that populate this area. As you take them out, make sure you don't get too close to the courtyard up ahead. Doing so causes one of the shaman enemies to begin casting homing dark magic that will devastate your health bar. To counter this, sprint forward and strike the shaman. Hitting him once stops the magic, and makes this dangerous environment a little more habitable. To the left of the well, a giant fish monster, or a beast of Kos as I'm calling them, looms behind a building. If you know anything about this enemy, it's probably how difficult it is to defeat. So instead of fighting it normally, toss a Molotov toward the explosive urns in the ground for an easy kill. Then clear out the remaining fishermen and make your way up the ramp along the rock wall to the left. This places you on the roofs of the houses from earlier, and the ladder just in front of the lamp can be kicked down from here. Through the hole to the left, enter the second floor of this house to pick up the Herald Garb. Just watch out for the enemy ambush as you do so. This is the set Simon wears, and despite its ragged appearance, it actually has exceptional physical defense. With shortcut and armor secured, step back into the courtyard and take the ladder down into the well, for the weapon everyone seems to be interested in, Maria's Rakuyo. To acquire the Rakuyo, you must defeat 2 beasts of Kos at the same time, in this cavern. The second won't drop down until you've inflicted significant damage on the first, but this head start offers little solace when the first beast is armed with a giant anchor that makes him significantly more dangerous. I can't recommend anyone get close to this guy. On the contrary, the only somewhat safe strategy I have to offer is to keep your distance and parry some of his more rapid attacks. After the first loses a little over half HP, the second beast should join the fight. This is your cue to stab one of the 2 with a shaman bone blade. This causes the 2 to become aggressive to one another, and really accomplishes the most difficult part of the battle for you. After that, simply clean up the loose ends. The Rakuyo is a skill weapon that shares characteristics of both the Blade of Mercy and Chikage. Requiring 10 strength and 20 skill, this is a fast and powerful blade, and unlike many similar weapons, the Rakuyo can be buffed with Elemental Paper or the Phantasm Shell if additional damage is required. With arguably the most difficult part of the fishing hamlet accomplished, climb the ladder to make your way back out of the well. Be aware that there are several blood gems to be picked up in the houses that make up this village, but in the interest of time, I'm going to keep this walkthrough moving. We'll find a better source of blood gems later on anyway. From the base of the stone ramp, continue ahead and leave the village courtyard. Along this path is a fisherman spear thrower and several dogs. The aquatic canines found in the fishing hamlet are armed with the beast roar, which can make fighting them a little difficult to coordinate. Take them out and continue forward. Although this is not my usual advice, the enemies found along this path become more numerous and more difficult until you're forced to fight dogs, fishermen, a shaman, and a beast of Kos at the same time. Instead of facing this gauntlet of enemies, simply run past them all and into the lighthouse hut up ahead, where the second lamp of the hamlet can be lit. Lying on the floor of the hut, Simon can be spoken with to finish his quest line.
Who are you? I'm afraid I've made a botch of things. Oh, I can hear the bell now. The beast hired assassin. He's after me. Oh, Again. And again. It never ends. Please. I need you to do something. This village is the true secret. Testament to the old sins. It feeds this hunter's nightmare. Please. Bring to an end the horror. So our forefathers sin. We hunters cannot bear their weight forever. It isn't fair. It just isn't fair.
Simon's bowblade is the only trick weapon that transforms into a purely projectile form. Requiring 8 strength, 15 skill, and 9 blood tinge, the bowblade can be an incredible weapon for a skill blood tinge build, and personally, I see a lot of potential in this bow-sword hybrid. To proceed through the stage, walk out through the door you came in and keep left. This should allow you to slip by the horde of enemies and down the ramp to the next half of the hamlet. The beast-hide hunter Brador invades 3 times in the fishing hamlet, and the first is just up ahead. He's armed with the new strength blood tinge weapon, the Bloodletter, which becomes much more dangerous if Brador is able to buff himself with one of his lead elixirs. Run across the bridge and kill him before he has a chance to use one. Each invasion awards you a piece of his armor set, and this one, the bloodied armbands. Then, take the ladder down the side of the building and follow the path along the rooftops, making your way into the house at the end. A scurrying beast hides here, and will likely drop down into the next floor. But be careful following it, as there's a Molotov trap just below. The platform you're on now separates you from a massive cluster of enemies found just below. Try to take out as many as you can before dropping down, but even then, expect to tackle several of these undying monsters at once. Make your way to the house on stilts at the far end of the bay, and step through the gap and up the stairs to pick up a cold blood. This triggers Brador's second invasion, so once again, sprint down the stairs and take him out before he gets a chance to pop a lead elixir. From this invasion, you obtain his chest piece, the Beast-hide Garb. Climb the ladders to return to the original rooftop where Brador invaded the first time, and step up the ramp through the doorway to proceed through the stage. Cross the thin bridge and take a left, killing the shaman that casts lightning. Alternatively, these empty shells to the left can be broken to skip the thin bridge, if for some reason it's causing problems for you. Keep left and open the iron door, which serves as a shortcut back to the lighthouse hut lamp. Back inside the cave, cross the bridge facing the shortcut door, and take the ladder down to the lower level. This floor is filled with these mollusk-like cosmic enemies that hide in the shells that litter the floor. Some shells are empty, while others hold enemies, so take it slow, and assume that an attack could come from anywhere. They have difficulty hitting you while standing behind them, so try to attack the shell when possible, even if it means ultimately dealing less damage. Cross to the opposite side of the room and step into the cavern to proceed. Straight ahead there are more snails, which do not have shells, and are much faster as a result. They tend to perform a leaping attack when they get close, so dodge to the side to avoid it. Continue straight ahead, and loot the lead elixir at the end to trigger the third invasion from Brador. Killing him here awards you the bloody trousers. Only one piece of his set to go. Then take a left in the cave, and be aware that there's another dark summoning shaman at the end of this alcove. You know the drill. Take it out as quickly as possible. The only remaining path leads to a drop-off, so do just that, and pull the lever to lower an elevator that serves as the second and final shortcut back to the lighthouse hut lamp. Now that Brador has been defeated 3 times in the fishing hamlet, use the lamp to warp back to the research prison, where his fourth and final invasion takes place. Kill him here to obtain the last piece to his set, Brador's Testimony. Using Simon's key, it's now possible to open Brador's cell and reap our sweet revenge against the invader.
Well, look who's here. Welcome to my quarters. I've never entertained a guest before. Are you going to kill me? After all you've done, kill me? As if to right your wrongs. Nothing changes. Such is the nature of man.
Killing him grants you the Blood Letter. This weapon requires 14 strength, 6 skill, and 16 blood tinge. It is unusual being the only weapon aside from the Chikage that actually consumes your HP during specific attacks, and even more unusual being the only weapon in the game with the ability to inflict frenzy. Only a truly mad hunter would be found wielding this weapon. Additionally, with Brador defeated all 4 times, we've completed his armor set, which is notable for having the highest beasthood stat in the game. If you intend to use the Beast Claw or Beast Blood pellets to their utmost potential, then this is the set for you. Back in the fishing hamlet, take the elevator down and take the tunnel with the glowing item at the far end. Only make sure you have the deep sea rune equipped along with some sedatives, as there are 2 winter lanterns found deep within. Wait a moment before stepping into the side of the first lantern, as she will walk away from her friend, and if you give her time, it will put some distance between the 2 dangerous enemies. As always, only dodge the grab attack at the last second, or you will most likely be caught in the monster's grasp. These winter lanterns can drop level 6 cursed tempering gemstones, which can add an additional 22% physical damage per gem, and are the best gems found outside of rare chalice dungeons. This is a great place to farm for better gems, so if you like, equip eye runes and the milkweed rune to boost item discovery, and farm for the specific ones you're looking for. I was lucky enough to pick up 3 powerful gems whose negative effects were increased stamina costs, something I don't really notice on the easy to swing Blade of Mercy. These cursed runes boosted my damage by a lot, and the time and sedatives spent farming were well worth it. Either way, the path splits in 2 here, with the left path leading to a drop down that places you back in the well where we picked up the Rakuyo, and the right path leading to another room packed with snails. Take the right path, watching out for leapers as you press onward. This room is full of both cosmic snails and lightning shaman, well aware of the treasure they're guarding. Clear them out and cross to the opposite side of the room to pick up a blood rock, the only free rock obtainable in the main game aside from the one in the Nightmare of Mensis you've likely already spent. That's it for the fishing hamlet, so warp back to the Hunter's Dream and prepare for the boss of the area. I should also mention while we're here, if you're in need of additional blood rocks, an update to the insight shop allows the purchasing of them for an outrageous 60 insight. Not the first source I'd recommend, but hey, if you need it, you need it. Back down the elevator, the only remaining path, littered with praying snail enemies, leads to the final boss of the DLC, the Orphan of Kos. The Orphan is a kin if that wasn't already obvious, meaning he's weak to kin hunter gemstones and bolt damage. His movement is frantic and elusive, and his attacks are often in a wide sweeping arc that covers significant area. He can be both parried and backstabbed, but based on how quickly he moves and how harshly he punishes a stationary player, these aren't exactly strategies I would advise. The best course of action is usually to dodge toward him to avoid an attack, follow the dodge with a quick strike or two, and immediately dodge back out before he retaliates. This is a difficult boss. He hits hard and is extremely aggressive, but thanks to his leaping attacks and thrown explosives, getting distance won't necessarily save you either. The trick to the fight is mostly in stamina management. You need to be able to dodge after every few strikes of your weapon, and several times if he begins to put pressure on you. So when stamina gets low, you need to back off and let it recover. If you get greedy for damage and perform too many consecutive attacks, you are going to get punished for it. Most of his attacks are telegraphed well enough that you should know when to dodge, but if you're out of stamina, there isn't much you can do. You're going to take some hits. Some moves are extremely hard to avoid, and that's okay. If you get hit, just back off and heal. Don't rely on the regain mechanic when it comes to this frantic boss. The water at the end of the coast is not dangerous, and doesn't slow your character, so feel free to allow the fight to go into the water. In fact, when the second phase of the fight begins, you will need to be in the water, so making your way there over the course of the first phase wouldn't be a bad idea. After reaching about half health, the Orphan evolves into his second form, equipped with flowing wings and two-handing his weapon. The fight is largely the same, only his speed is a little faster and some new moves are added to his repertoire. One of these is a move that calls lightning down from the cosmos. If you're on dry land, this attack is nearly impossible to avoid, but it takes the lightning some time to travel out in the ocean. Find a break in one of its waves, and dash into the gap to stay safe. Another new move is this jumping attack where the Orphan throws a salvo of arcane explosives. This is extremely hard to dodge, and save for being directly underneath him when he uses it, there isn't much you can do, so keep that HP topped off. Recognize that this is going to be a long fight, and then it might take several tries. Keep an eye on your stamina, and don't get greedy with damage. You'll have this cosmic crossbreed defeated yet. Slaying the monster grants you the Cos Parasite, a weapon only usable while the Milkweed rune is equipped. Requiring 20 arcane and dealing pure arcane damage, the Parasite's tentacles are unorthodox at best. I can only imagine the reaction of an invader coming head to head with a player who has mastered the use of this weapon. With that, light your new lamp on the coast and kill the Nightmare of Cos to put an end to the Old Hunters DLC.
Sweet child of Cos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.
Thanks so much as always for watching this series, and I apologize that this last episode was a bit late. The Old Hunters has been an amazing expansion, and lots of fun to cover. I'm not finished with Bloodborne by any means. In fact, I've already been considering doing a sort of mini-series on some of my favorite builds in the game. What blood gems I like to use and which weapons, how I like to level stats, the different armor sets I tend to mix together, stuff like that. I'm also thinking about Dark Souls 3 and the upcoming content I'll be making for it in April, and I've been thinking about doing some sort of other content for it instead of a walkthrough. It just takes me so long to script and edit these sorts of videos to be concise and accurate. I end up being about a month behind streamers and YouTubers whose video style allows them to upload on day one. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see from me regarding Dark Souls 3. Again, you can always give me feedback or see what I'm up to by following me on Twitter or Tumblr, or support me on Patreon if you like my stuff. A big thank you to the indie artists I've been able to feature throughout this series. Definitely check them out if you haven't. These musicians are outstanding. So that's it everyone. Thanks for watching First Blood and supporting the channel. More videos are on the way.